Holy Father, we come to you today and we just lift up your name as the King of Kings and as the Lord of Lords, as the Prince of Peace, as the Alpha and the Omega. We know you are all things, and we can do all things through Christ who gives us strength. We ask for that strength today, Father. We ask for wisdom and clarity. We ask for discernment. We ask that you teach us and guide us as we look to you, that we don't look to the left and right, but we look to you for all things, Father. Yes. And Holy Spirit, we ask that when we are misguided and when we are not being obedient, that you will continue to remind us to always be obedient first, because we know clearly that miracles often follow movement. And sometimes that movement comes through our obedience, doing things that we don't want to do, doing the hard things, but that movement and that obedience will lead to miracles and will lead to blessings. And Father, as we look around this world, as we look around our circumstances, the sea that is stormy around us, certainly we feel hard pressed on every side, but we are not crushed. We feel perplexed. But Father, as your children, we are not in despair. We are persecuted more and more every day. We are persecuted, but we are not abandoned. We are struck down, but we are not destroyed, for we are children of the King of Kings, and we bring you all power, and we praise you for your glory. In Jesus' name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That's the song we sing when we get ready to pass the hat. When you rush to good prayer, you got to stay up and feel the spirit on this.
Well, I
try to
wouldn't
rush
mind.
into the pledge.
I wouldn't mind, sorry.
I thought Dan was finna lead us in a little
Okay,
bit.
we got the public comment. Reverend Gary Burton, Penn-Lila. Oh, wait a minute, I'm jumping ahead again.
We need to call roll first, please. Commissioner Harris.
Here, can you hear me, Cruz?
Chairman Dean is absent. Commissioner Walker.
Present.
Commissioner Sankey.
Present.
Vice Chairman Singleton.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Now I can do public comment. I do it every time. Reverend Gary Burton, Penn-Lila Community. And as Reverend Burton's coming forward, I'd like to remind everybody we have a pretty good list of speakers today. So I'm going to ask everybody to, in respect of everybody's time, to try to keep it at 3 minutes if possible.
I'm Gary Burton. I have served the Penn-Lila Baptist Church for over 50 years. That milestone was marked last January, and this commission came forth with wonderful things to say about our work there. Appreciate the presence of Commissioner Singleton and our good sheriff. It was a great day, but it's over, and we have work to do. I'm here to speak on behalf of the Penn-Lila Elementary School. I am concerned about the possible closure of that school, and this is not the first time we've been involved. It is small, it is rural, and the building has suffered from decades of deferred maintenance. So I don't know how to defend this school in terms of monetary definitions. But I do know that our students are important to us. And the faculty is important, and the principal's important, and the support staff. It is really difficult for me to appreciate their challenges coming out of 2 years of pandemic and now having to deal with this. I love this school. My children attended that school many years ago. They were wonderfully educated, and now they give us beautiful grandchildren, and I'd much rather be talking about them. I just want to plead the case for Penn-Lila Elementary and tell you that I have the growing sensation that there is a diminishing sense of the importance of community. If the school goes under, there will be a domino effect. And I'm not too sure how well the branch library will fare. I think it's going to alter some things that the volunteer fire department is doing. And I just cannot envision a future without education. So what I would like to, for you all to consider perhaps, and I'm a lonely person sometimes wanting conversation about these issues. I don't know who to talk with at the educational offices. I don't know who to talk with in other venues. But I really think we need to envision a new day for public education in the county. I do not place a stigma on small rural schools. But we have to, I think, revisit what we are doing with small rural schools. And this conversation, I hope, can start sooner rather than later. I don't want hotheads as a part of the conversation. I don't want knee-jerkers as a part of the conversation. We have to look really at what is happening with our educational system in rural communities. I serve a rural church, and I've been there for 50 years. I work hard day and night, and it's a blessing to all of us. And we have established relationships with the school system, which are a vital part of the culture of our church. And we were just not quite ready. I did attend the Board of Education meeting last Tuesday night, I believe, when our superintendent made the proposal to the board that we close Pentlala Elementary and I believe Dunbar Raymer at the end of 1 year. So I think at this time next year, we'll be looking at the closure. And even though no vote was taken, just putting that out there is going to hurt any attempt we might have to recruit parents and new students. It's going to hang over us like a cloud. Now, before we proceed, let me say I have great admiration and respect for the school superintendent and for those who have done the financial miracles in our school system lately. I just don't like to be on this side of the fence, and I want people who can have a conversation without getting mean-spirited about it. And I would hope that what we could do would be in kindness and with civility toward each other. So I want to just say to the commission, I'm in a spot where I need your guidance. And that's where I am. I will talk with anybody, pray with anybody. I'll go anywhere and build a case for Pentlala Elementary. If it closes, I will cry. I'll get up the next day and we'll go to work for public education for our students wherever they are. But I think it is the drumbeat, the hammer on small rural schools that disturbs me the most. And I just would like to change the direction from elimination to transformation. And so we need conversations about a new day for public education in the county. And I want to do that collaboratively and cooperatively. So that's where I am, commissioners, and I don't expect you to respond to me today. I'm just putting the situation before you, and we can have conversation on how to follow up with this.
Reverend, I will respond. I mean, I don't know what considerations went into those decisions, but I absolutely follow and believe in your idea of transformation as opposed to total obliteration or dropping it. I think, a part of what went into it was the current structure. I mean, there was no way to justify a building that with a capacity of 300 or 400 housing 85. But transformation would bring into other considerations. So I think what you have something there. You have something that needs to be explored, that needs to be talked about. We don't make decisions for public education, as you know it. We fund them.
Yeah.
I mean, you think the person with the purse would have some say, but we really don't. But we can influence hopefully. And I think that it would be a good thing, because, you know, it's only 85 kids in Dunbar-Raymer, but to bring them from familiar surroundings or somewhere else is going to affect the train that they're on for learning. And I think we should do everything we can to make it consistent for them. And it might be something transformative that would work for those rural areas in the county. So I'm a big, huge supporter and fan of public education, and I know it's needed. And I know the closer to home and the more familiar surroundings that the kids exposed to, the better the opportunities for them to learn, and the better for the communities.
Well, you know, we live so close. We're in the downtown heart of Pentlala. And I remember when our kids were young, they would walk to school, the only ones who walked to school. And they were followed by our dog. And when school let out, the dog preceded them home. It was just a great culture in which we lived. There were no threats hanging over our heads. We were free to educate and free to fellowship with so many wonderful people. I just want this cloud lifted, and I want us to build some incentives into the educational system that inspire people. We need inspiration. And I think we can get that, but we've got to get the right elements on the table and talk about them. And I appreciate your
Brother
kind words.
Burton, Chairman Dean and I have had this conversation. Chairman Dean is adamant about keeping Pentlala and Dunbar-Raymer open somehow. Whether we understand financially, it probably don't make sense, but
Right.
we cannot put a 5- and 6-year-old kid on a bus, especially in Dunbar-Raymer, and send them for an hour, make them get up on a bus before 6 in the morning, ride a bus for an hour to school and back. I wouldn't send my 5-year-old,
Right.
You wouldn't, none of us in this room would. Worst case scenario, and I'm gonna meet with Claire, with the school board. Worst case scenario, I would like to see Dunbar, Raymer, and Pentlala combined, maybe at the Pentlala campus. It's 18 minutes from Raymer to Pentlala. That's worst case scenario. There's a couple of things in play too here, is that there's so much development going on near Hyundai. Every week it seems like we announce either we're getting a project or there's another project on the horizon. I've spoken with a couple of developers in town, residential developers, Will Wilson, Foy Tatum, about a neighborhood in the Pentlala area for these employees of these companies that are coming in. Because right now, most of them drive out of town, they
That's
drive out of Montgomery, they drive to East Montgomery. But to have a neighborhood there in Pentlala, in that Pentlala-Hopewell area,
Right.
which that's another thing that the school board probably is not aware of, that I need to make them aware of. Another possible solution is charter school between the two somehow, but I don't want those kids having to take a bus ride for an hour to go to a new school, because when Dunbar-Raymer High School, Montgomery County High School, closed down in Raymer, now this was 9th through 12th graders, most of them just dropped out of school because they didn't want to ride the bus. They couldn't do any extracurricular activities after school. So we're on your side, and we're going to support our kids and doing what's feasibly, but come up with something outside the box besides just closing the schools.
Right. Well, this is a big subject, and I know I need to quit.
It
but-
is, and we've taken a lot of
Yeah,
time.
and I
but
appreciate your
it's
interest
important.
and support. In 50 years, I cannot recall a day that the county commission did not support us in Pentlala. Can't recall it. And so I have a devotion to you as well as to the general public of Pentlala, but I will just say that if it's not us, it's got to be somebody else who gives thought to all of this and drives the train. And so I appreciate whatever you do for us. We're all praying about the situation. I'm optimistic that there will be a good turn in the road, but we've got to learn how to educate these kids vigorously, rigorously, so that we are demonstrating what God has called us to do. So that's my point. I appreciate your listening very much.
Thank you,
Thank
Reverend.
you.
And let's stay in touch,
Yeah,
okay?
we will.
I appreciate the prayer, Commissioner Walker. I needed it at the point you prayed.
And I'll share again what Brother Burton said. At Sheriff Cunningham, I was there, and at his 50th anniversary of serving the church, and he said the key to 50 years successful marriage, 50 years successful relationship at the church, 50 years successful relationships with people. What's the secret? And I kept thinking he's going to throw out something, you know, I was ready to write down something great that he's going to throw out here, and he just basically said, we just love each other. And, you know, if that was true across Montgomery County and through the state, and I'm not going to get on a soapbox and start preaching, but I've never forgotten that, and I use it all the time now, so.
Well, thank you for saying that, but let me also add one caveat. My wife and I are part of a board called Pacers. I've been on this board for quite some time. It's a small board. It's an advocacy group for small rural schools. And so for a year now, we've been publishing a community newspaper that goes low on politics and low on religion. We're trying to bring the community together. And so we have featured all kinds of people in these 4 editions of our community newspaper. It's been quite a hit. I think it's bringing us together as it has not done in a long time. And so that newspaper has really been a key to getting into places where we've never gone before. So it's been a strength for us. I don't want to see it have to deal with stuff like this. You know? So thank you for listening.
Thank you. Next up is Christopher Thomas with the M Transit.
Good morning, Honorable Montgomery County Commissioners. Before I speak on the M Transit, in listening to everyone this morning in regards to sewer, in regards to the walking trail, in regards, there was another statement as well. In our business, we're a consultant to the M Transit. In our business with MM Group, we were recently conducting a research and development study for another project. And one of the people that we surveyed was a realtor, broker, who sells homes within the Montgomery area. And we interviewed her, and she made the statement, which I thought was very interesting. I wanted to share with you this morning as a result. She stated to me that in the past 60 days, 3 of the homes that she sold in the past 60 days were people and families who had no ties to Montgomery at all. And I found that very impressive. So there are a lot of eyes on Montgomery County and Montgomery and the city of Montgomery. And the reason what attracted them here was because they came to visit the museum in the area. And also they're looking at some of the progress that Montgomery is making, even though they stated it's a few years out, but there are quite a few eyes, you know, on the city and also the county. So I found that very interesting. I wanted to share it with you, but on to the purpose I'm here today. My name is Christopher Thomas with NMM Group. I'm the lead consultant for the company. And I bring you greetings from Mr. Samuel Tinsley. He's the GM of the M Transit and also for the entire M Transit team. Coming to give you an update in regards to the 2022 Celebrate M Transit Day. Vice Chair Singleton, thank you for your support in attending that press conference. It was a huge success. All of the M Transit employees received certificates and appreciation certificates along with an appreciation breakfast and also lunch. All the M Transit riders rode free the entire day. The Honorable Mayor Stephen Reed, he addressed the media with a press conference. The press conference was supported by Councilman C.C. Calhoun, of course, Montgomery County Commissioner Doug Singleton, and the State of Alabama Representative Tashina Morris. And speaking about another campaign that we have quickly approaching, in addition to Tuesday, May 24th, being primary election day, it's also National Scavenger Hunt Day. And so in celebration of National Scavenger Hunt Day, The M Transit is unleashing what we're calling the Golden M, and where all the riders of the M Transit on that day will be able to participate. One of 4 different routes will be an envelope with a Golden M inside of it, and each Golden M would have an award value of $250 in cash and prizes. Sponsors of the Golden M Scavenger Hunt is Bojangles, which is the only one we have currently opening is in East Chase, Cosby Wireless, In-City Magazine, and also the M Transit. So, and we're also opening up for others to participate as sponsors as well. But thank you for the opportunity to speak, and that concludes my comments.
Thank you, Mr.
All
Thomas.
right, thank you.
Jay Coleman, D.H. Ely Project.
Good morning, Commissioner. Thank you for having me. I'm here on behalf of the D.H. Ely Project / the Lazarus House. A few years ago, I came before this commission with the people out of Birmingham. We were opening up the Danon Project. The Danon Project was a reentry program, job training, job certification program. In the past 2 years of working with the Danon Project, we made some great strides here. We've got some great success stories of people, young adults who we turned around, we turned their lives around, got them high school diplomas, high school GED, and job certification and job training. Ultimately, that helps the recidivism rate and also helps the crime in our city. I've recently resigned from the Danon Project due to, I guess, creative differences. And so with my relationships with the with the courts here in Montgomery, and I spoke with the judges, and they all were in support of me and the things I did at the Danon Project. And so I was encouraged to start our own program, our own reentry program to fill that void, because they were not comfortable sending people to the program if I wasn't there, because of the relationships that we built through the years. So with that being said, we started a new program called the Lazarus House. We're located, we've identified a building on the west side of town on May Street, which used to be the old Bush Science building. What we're going to do in that particular building is we're going to house our mentorship program, our job training program. We're housing our high school diploma program and all the certifications that we did with the Danon Project. We're also our court advocacy and our life skills teaching and the mental health and all the things that go with reentry. We're asking for support from the County Commission. Right now, we are in the running for 2 Department of Justice grants, which we recently applied for. One is for juveniles, and the other one is for adults. And what I will be bringing to the table with the Lazarus House, as opposed to what we did with Danon, being there for 2 years, I got a chance to identify the gaps, got a chance to identify some of the weaknesses of the program, and we want to fill those gaps. One of the weaknesses was that we only serve 18 to 25-year-olds. But we found that there are a lot of 26, 27, 28-year-olds who went to prison at 20 years old, did 5, 6 years, got out, and there was nothing for them as far in terms of reentry. So we will be reaching out to those people. There's really no age limit on people that's reentering into society, and there's no age limits on people who the court feel that can benefit from our programs. And one last thing, we are currently working with people in the community, people with their feet on the ground, talking about real community people, street people. We meet with them once a month with ideas, and they are buying into the program. They want to help, and we're helping them in terms of how to start businesses and to be legitimate people in the communities that we serve. So we're asking for support from the County Commission and to help get the infrastructure in place. And currently, I have about 6 people that the courts have sent to me that I'm working for. I'm just doing the mentorship part and also the training part to help them to better their lives and to direct their path. So we're asking for help from the County Commission to help get the infrastructure in place so we can move forward with our new reentry program. And with that, I thank you, and I accept any questions. I guess everybody know about the program.
How are you going to be, how's the program going to be fed? I mean, the constituents, where they're coming from?
They'll be coming from the court systems. We have a referral process through from the court. Majority of them will be coming from the court system and the juvenile court system. They can also be referred by any court official, lawyer, any police officer, sheriff department, deputies, anybody, even the county commissioner. If you have an individual who could benefit from the service, so anybody that can refer these people to us.
And what are your needs you're talking about? You want support?
Yeah, we're going to need financial support as far as to get the building in shape, the classrooms. We've gotten some donated computers to start out, some initially, but we're going to need some things to put in place to bring everything up to par.
The city helping?
Have not gone to the city yet, but I will be going to them because I know that they are very interested in putting money into programs that has not worked. But we are proven, and we'll be going to the city.
Sounds like something the state would be interested in helping too. I'd check with the state reps.
Yes, and I have reached out to the state reps, and because one of the partnerships that we're trying to form is with the Department of Corrections, which I was in the process of doing with Danon. So I'm still going to form those, so we can start working with some of the people who they identified that be getting out within 6 months of their release, and we can actually start working with them before they actually get out.
Is Danon Project still on, it's on Court Street? It was on, where was it? I went to.
Yes, you at the grand opening. Danon Project is at Court Street, but at this point they have no participants. I didn't burn the house down on the way out. I resigned. I actually resigned, and they threw me a big party and everything, and I was moving on. But speaking with the judges and realizing that we really need that program. We need programs like that here. And
Like the Lazarus House, it's been around a while, hasn't it?
no, actually, we just actually came up with the name
Something else.
Lazarus House because we were talking about bringing new life, bringing them back to life.
But the Danon Project, you said there's nobody there now. Why is there nobody there? 'Cause I know people are getting out of prison.
Well, the Danon Project made some changes at the top in Birmingham, and then there became some friction as to the discussion was, why is it that Montgomery is doing so well? Why is Montgomery meeting all these goals and Birmingham is not? And the conversation went, JC has great relationships in Montgomery. And somebody who stood up and said that JC is not bigger than the Danon Project. He's going to have to get in line, and there's going to be one Danon Project. It's not going to be a Montgomery Danon Project. And so that I bowed out.
All right?
Yes,
Well, I
sir.
appreciate it. Thank
Thank
you, sir.
y'all. Thank y'all so much.
Okay. Lydia Pickett, Mid-Alabama Coalition for the Homeless.
Good morning, Commissioners. I too appreciated that prayer. Like the pastor, I needed it right when you started it, so thank you. And I'm here this morning. My name is Lydia Pickett. I'm the director of MOC, which is the Mid-Alabama Coalition for the Homeless. I'm here with one of my board members, Mr. James Lovejoy. And this is my first time before the commission. I will say I'm a little bit out of my element. I'm not much of an asker, but I'm learning how to do it. I'm more of a worker, boots on the ground type person, and as of the past 3 years, I've been more in an administrative position as executive director. But I come respectfully before you to tell you a tiny bit about MOC. I will be within my 3-minute time limit. The Coalition for the Homeless is actually a HUD-designated program or organization that's designed to make sure that dollars to address homelessness can be poured into our community. Each community across the state has to have what's called a COC, a continuum of care. MOC is a continuum of care for the river region, so quite naturally Montgomery is one of our counties. And we've been in existence since 1996, so we've been a 501c3 since 2001. And since 2009, MOC has been providing 3 main direct services. As a HUD COC, we are the focal point for collaboration and partnerships among community organizations to create and implement a community-wide approach to addressing issues surrounding homelessness. But just as far as our direct services go, we've been doing street outreach, homelessness prevention, and rapid rehousing since 2009. Street outreach is what it sounds like. we now have 2 street outreach workers. We've had 1 for a long time. But we have 2 street outreach workers who go out to engage, assess, and address the needs of people who are literally homeless. The second arm of our program is Rapid Rehousing. That's a HUD name. It's not always fast, but it's called Rapid Rehousing for people who are literally homeless and looking to move from homelessness into permanent housing. And third, we have homelessness prevention to address people who are at risk of becoming homeless due to imminent eviction or other reasons that they are unstably housed, moving from place to place, doubled up with other families, and so forth. In the provision of our services, everything has been steady for a long time, like with everybody else, and an odd thing happened to us at the onset of the pandemic. Well, at the onset, of course, everything was just kind of up in the air. Everybody was trying to figure out how to function. We, as a community, figured it out, how to continue serving people who are experiencing homelessness. However, then, of course, at the federal level, a lot of money was poured into the community, and the money kind of bumped heads with one program, bumped heads with another, so that the main programs we were operating could not really flow at that time, couldn't spend the money fast enough, too many details to go into. At the end of last year, however, everything opened up because there was no more Aramco money, there was no more eviction moratorium, and we had people from December to January who were still on our waiting list, which is very uncharacteristic for our program. 60 days or more, so we implemented a way to do some rapid assessments and intake for clients, and now in a matter of 4 weeks, we've added to our already existing client load about 125 families and individuals needing housing. They're actively looking, and our cash flow is not enough to keep up with the needs. So that's why I'm coming before you today, to ask you to support us and the needs that we have. All of our grants, too, are reimbursement grants. So even what we can't afford to float is not coming back fast enough. So I'm asking you, and yes, I will be addressing the city council as well, asking you to support us, and our ask is $50,000.
Like, if I leave here and I go, start on Forest Avenue, and I go all the way to Chantilly, every corner has somebody with a sign that says homelessness.
Right.
And those people, are y'all approaching them, or are they just turning down your services, or to give me more information on
Commissioner
that?
Singleton, some of those people are truly homeless,
I know.
and some of those people are not.
I know.
There's some homelessness and there's some hustling. There's 2 different things, and of course, we always know that. But yes, we do make the approach. Our outreach worker will make the approach and try to determine if the person has a need and is interested in any type of help, we can do there's a lot of things we can do. We can try to get them into a shelter, and a lot of times they might not want to go to a shelter for different reasons. So that's the assessment part, the engagement and assessment part of outreach that comes first. But anybody that's on a corner that needs help, whether it's needing a shelter, needing something to eat, needing to be referred to a program where you actually can work for food, there's ways for us to make that referral. And for those that keep popping up, that don't want help, we have to pass them by at some point. But they know how to reach us if they need to reach us.
But the ones that actually are homeless.
Correct.
What percentage of them actually want help? Or they prefer just to be homeless?
There's some people who are homeless who will not say that they're homeless. They'll say, I have a place called home, and it's an encampment back in some woods somewhere off Chantilly. So sometimes it takes a while to break the mindset of the person, and there are a lot of reasons for that. Sometimes they're mental health issues, sometimes it's including, but not limited to, PTSD. Sometimes it's just people thinking that they just can't function inside of what we call normalcy anymore. And sometimes people are just discouraged. And through outreach and engagement, we can find ways to encourage them and reconnect them with what we do call normal.
Well, thank you for your time, and thank you. We'll consider your.
Thank you very much for listening. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I was just a question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
You're trying to house 125 individuals. Do we have the housing stock in Montgomery, the rental, in the rental market to allow for that? And how much is the monthly rent on average?
Okay. To answer the question, people, if they look long enough and hard enough, can find a place to rent. A lot of times it takes, especially with private property owners, it takes us giving them some time to get the place acceptable so it can pass inspection. So it's out there, but it's hard to find. And to find what we might consider a decent place that's affordable for a lot of people is challenging. We need more affordable housing, that's the bottom line. But people are gonna find a place, one way or another. They're gonna find a place. The average rent, and we're not talking high-end, the average rent to stay within fair market rent for our HUD regulations for our grant is going to be between $600 and $800 a month. So we give at least 6 months of rental assistance if there's a need. We don't just give everybody 6 months. Some people just might need to get in and get on their feet. But we give an average of 6 months of rental assistance per family or per household, whether it's a family or an individual. And then what also costs a lot of money is people who are facing eviction, and we need to catch up the arrears in order to get them stabilized and pay a couple of more months. That's quite costly. And we also do utilities, not just utility assistance, but we can do utility assistance for people that we are rehousing or preventing homelessness.
And so I believe, Mr. Chairman, one last comment. I believe that the American Rescue Plan Act certainly allows for make provisions to address homelessness. And I'm just wondering if your organizations have put in a proposal to Thrive, Montgomery Thrive, to address some of the objectives that you wish to carry out with your organization.
I'm not familiar with Montgomery Thrive. I'm not. And also, thank you for that. We are working directly, though we've just started working with the city in order to access some ARPA funding through their homelessness efforts.
That's us together.
Okay,
So become familiar with it, please.
I
And
will. I got it. It's
In the meantime, I
locked
hope we
in.
can provide some short-term relief for you.
yeah, that would be helpful. It's the cash flow, it really is. It's just, thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, thank you. Hey, Florence.
We'll start with our public hearings.
Declare a public hearing concerning the alcohol license application for special events retail to Rancho El Paraiso for an event on May the 21st and June the 4th. Is there anybody here to speak on that? Declare public hearing closed. Second one is public hearing regarding transfer alcohol beverage control license business from Tiger's Pride Market to AVI 2022 Inc. Is anybody here to speak on that? Declare public hearing closed.
Consider the minutes of the regular meeting on May 3rd, 2022.
Move approval.
Second.
Any objection? So ordered.
Consider accounts payable checks and payroll checks.
Move approval.
Second.
Any objection? So ordered.
Yes, sir.
Consider an alcohol license application for special event for Latino Festival on May 21st and June 4th, 2022.
Move approval.
Second.
Any objection? So ordered.
Consider transfer of an ABC control license business from Tiger's Pride Market to AVI 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Any objection? So ordered.
Consider a resolution to approve the East Alabama Regional Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan Phase 2, August 2020.
Move approval.
Second.
Any objection? So ordered.
Consider a resolution to allocate American Rescue Plan Act funds for Crisis Diversion Center and body cameras.
On that, Mr. Chairman, just
Sure.
if I'm not out of order.
Well, we need to make a
Okay, I'm
motion.
out of order.
No, that's okay. You make a motion and second, and then you have discussion before the vote. So I'll say so moved.
Second.
Okay.
Any discussion?
Yes, I just wanted to say that, and this may be a minor point, but Montgomery Area Mental Health is now CARISTAR, and that may appear in the documentation.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Well noted, and we'll do that. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Likewise opposed. Motion passed.
Consider a board member appointment to the Joint Public Charity Hospital Board.
So moved.
Second.
Any objection? So ordered.
Consider board member appointments to the Montgomery City County Public Library Board.
So moved.
Second.
Any objection? So ordered.
Consider board member reappointments to the Montgomery County Public Building Authority.
Move for approval.
Second.
Any objection? So ordered.
Consider board member reappointments to the Community Punishment and Corrections Authority.
So moved.
Second.
Any objection? So ordered.
You have to second.
I moved it.
Consider a grant application to the State Finance Office for emergency medical services.
Move for approval.
Second.
Any objection? So ordered.
Consider a grant application for the 2022 Bulletproof Vest Grant.
So moved.
Second.
Any objection? So ordered.
Consider renewal of the Mike Green Tower Site Permit Agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Any objection? So ordered.
Consider miscellaneous appropriations to agencies. During the information session, Commissioner Harris added a $5,000 appropriation to the Cleveland Avenue YMCA.
Move for approval?
I second.
Any objection? So ordered.
Consider miscellaneous appropriations to education with the addition of a $5,000 appropriation from Commissioner Sankey to Lanier High School for its band program.
Move for approval.
Second.
Any objection? So ordered.
Consider miscellaneous appropriations from designated revenue with the following additions. Commissioner Sankey appropriated $2,000 to One Place Family Justice Center for general operations, and $2,000 to the Midtown YMCA for the summer sport camp. There is a $10,000 appropriation from joint revenue and from Commissioner Harris for Common Ground summer camp. An addition of an appropriation to Alabama State University for summer sky cap, $5,000 from joint designated, $5,000 from Commissioner Harris, $5,000 from Chairman Dean, and $5,000 from Commissioner Sankey.
Move for approval.
Second.
Any objection? So ordered.
Consider a bid award to Mid-South Paving for plant mix for the engineering department.
So moved.
Second.
Any objection? So ordered.
Consider a bid award to Mid-South Paving for high-performance asphalt coal patch for engineering.
So moved.
Second.
Any objection? So ordered.
Consider budget change request number 11 for engineering.
So moved.
Second.
Any objection? So ordered.
Consider budget change request numbers 5 and 6 for the probate judge's office.
Move for approval.
Second.
Any objection? So ordered.
Consider position fill requests for the detention facility for 4 corrections officer trainees.
Move for approval.
Second.
Any objection? So ordered.
Consider a position fill request for the engineering department for a county road equipment operator 3.
Move for approval.
Second.
Any objection? So ordered.
Consider position fill requests for the sheriff's office for 2 deputy sheriff trainees.
So moved.
Second.
Any objection? So ordered.
Consider travel training requests for appraisal, county commission, personnel, and the sheriff's office.
Move for approval.
Second.
Any objection? So ordered.
We have waived rule items to consider. First is required revision of the child support prosecution agreement for the district attorney's office.
No objection. Move approval.
Second.
Any objection? So ordered.
Consider an emergency precinct change of Covenant Ministries to Essence Studio and Event Center.
Mr. Chairman, I have no objection to waiving rules on this item. So moved.
Second.
Any objection? So ordered.
Consider a grant application to the Department of Justice to hire a full-time forensics intelligence NIBIN analyst.
No objection to waiving rules on this item. So moved.
Second.
Any objection? So ordered.
That's all our items.
Okay, Mr. Attorney,
No, thank you.
Deputy Administrator.
Yes, sir. Good morning. Briefly, we are at $5.8 million for ERA 2 with 1,909 households that have been served. Any questions?
Just any update on what Treasurer is doing in terms of releasing the money that was reallocated from the state?
Yes, sir. We got an email Friday that we have been approved. So when I just got the email this morning, so I'm already trying to coordinate with Jason to see what the timeline will be before we actually get it and can start processing applications.
Thank you, sir.
I'll be in contact with that information as soon as I receive it.
Thank you, sir.
No problem. Thank you.
Commissioner Harris.
No, sir.
Commissioner Walker.
Oh, I just have some silly advice. We're all so overwhelmed. I was listening to a show. It was actually a talk show, and they were really funny. And I was having like one of those just belly laughs, like laughing so hard at what they were saying. I just want to encourage everybody: make sure you're around people that make you laugh, or you listen to something that makes you laugh. We all need to laugh once a day, and get out and enjoy 20 minutes of direct sunlight to get that vitamin D every day, and pray also. But we need to laugh and get vitamin D, direct sunlight, 20 minutes every day. That's my advice for the week.
Good advice. Commissioner Sankey.
Well, laughing and vitamin D, that's a
Yeah.
good segue for May being Mental Health Awareness Month.
Oh,
That's what it is, because we're all having mental breakdown. I mean,
I agree.
literally,
I agree.
literally, it's a epidemic.
Y'all
Yes.
speak for yourself.
Oh, you are too, Dan. It's all of us.
It's a thin line. But in any event, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I think it's just appropriate that we would have the ribbon cutting for the Crisis Diversion Center.
Yeah.
And so we're, grateful to support that. Also, on set, I had an opportunity to attend the Mental Health Awareness Symposium. I sat on a panel with Miss Donna Leslie, and we talked about mental health and what it is and how we address it. And it's sponsored by the Teddy Bear Project. Mrs. McCall, whose brother committed suicide, actually used that as the motivation to bring mental health awareness to the community. And so they hosted that symposium there at, I believe it was New Home Baptist Church out in Mount Meigs. So I just encourage people to continue to talk about mental health. You have family members, sometimes it becomes a challenge to talk about it, but we need to talk about it. The more we talk about it, the easier it becomes to talk about it. And as we talk, perhaps we can begin to do something about it in terms of proper intervention. So let's, as you say, Commissioner Walker, we're going to laugh how many minutes a day?
As many as you can.
Okay.
20 minutes of direct sunlight every day, but laughing all the time.
All right. That's your
Plenty of opportunities this week, though.
that's your prescription. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
thank you. Just want to say that Montgomery County is involved the last couple of weekends. I've seen different events from Gibbs Village to Pike Road. I've seen probate office there, DA, judges, the sheriff's department, different groups being out there representing Montgomery County. Big shout out to Loretta Burns. The Kidney Walk team came in 3rd place. And they were competing against people like Hyundai and Jack Ingram Motors, some big companies. So thank you for that. NAMI Walk was this past Saturday. The Sheriff's Department was well represented, along with JC was there. And then quick update on Elton. Spent a long time with him yesterday. He's in rehabilitation now. he's getting a little bit better, so he's getting back to a lot of his Elton ways. He aggravated with me, shakes his hand at me and fist at me and gets mad at me again, so I feel better. I feel more comfortable with him now that he's getting aggravated at me again. But in case you hadn't heard this, you'll probably hear it all week, I'm sure, and it may be a holiday, I don't know. But Friday is Derek Cunningham's birthday. And it's a big one, turning 70, so it's a big day for him. So I have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. He's probably
Safe travels, Thomas.
50-something, 50.